Has Northvolt finally run out of charge? Who will take the lead at Nissan? Which car maker is trying to revive its German subsidiary? This is the Automotive Update, presented by Autovista24. I'm Autovista24 journalist Tom Hooker, and you're listening to the Automotive Update, where we review some of the biggest news stories from the past week. Vehicle battery manufacturer Northvolt filed for bankruptcy in Sweden on Wednesday. In a statement, the startup cited rising capital costs, geopolitical instability, supply chain disruptions, market demand shifts, and production struggles as challenges that eroded its financial position in recent months. It marks the end of a downward spiral for the company, which was once seen as Europe's best hope in an industry dominated by China. Northvolt received backing from Volkswagen, Goldman Sachs, and BlackRock, attracting $15 billion of corporate and government investment to develop technology for electric vehicles or EVs, according to the Financial Times. The company is looking into all realistic options for financing to continue operating. During the bankruptcy process, Northvolt said it found significant traction with potential partners and interest from investors. However, the company was unable to conclude the agreements needed to secure its future. Tom Johnston, interim chairman of Northvolt's board of directors, commented, "This is an incredibly difficult day for everyone at Northvolt. We set out to build something groundbreaking, to drive real change in the battery, EV, and wider European industry and accelerate the transition to a green and sustainable future." Nissan CEO Makoto Uchida has stepped down from his position, with Ivan Espinosa, currently the Chief Planning Officer, appointed as his successor. This is part of wider senior management changes to achieve the company's short and mid-term objectives while positioning it for long-term growth, Nissan said in a statement. The news comes after the collapse of merger talks with Honda. Uchida stated in a press conference that the board had asked him to step down after people outside and inside the company started questioning his responsibility for Nissan's poor performance, as reported by the Financial Times. Uchida had previously advocated for a deal with Honda, and was against a takeover by Taiwanese company Foxconn. However, several board members and people close to the discussion had increased pressure on the former CEO to step down in recent weeks. Some blamed his weak leadership and lack of decision-making for the current financial crisis Nissan is facing. Espinosa will be expected to swiftly execute a turnaround plan, including 9,000 job cuts and slashing 20% of production capacity. Ford is investing up to €4.4 billion of new capital into its German subsidiary, which has more than €5 billion of debt, according to the company. Vice Chair John Lawler said the company will not pull out of its European business, but called on Brussels and Germany to do more to accelerate the transition to EVs and lower costs to compete against Chinese rivals. Lawler also said Ford needs to continue to work on cost reductions. Furthermore, the company stated it would end a commitment which has been in place since 2006 to bear any losses its Ford Werk subsidiary made, the Financial Times reported. Trade union IG Metall called the move a very dirty trick that aimed to put pressure on the Works Council in the most horrible way possible. It sees the decision as a way to push through workforce reductions, despite a previously agreed employment guarantee until 2032. Meanwhile, Porsche announced it will cut 4,000 jobs, according to the Times. This move to reduce its workforce by 10% is in response to declining sales. The brand has promised investors a comprehensive recalibration of the business after profits slumped. Porsche bosses have also raised concerns about US trade tensions and warned that this year's earnings will be impacted by growing domestic competition in China. Elsewhere in the Volkswagen Group, its software subsidiary Cariad wants to cut 1,600 jobs by the end of the year, representing just over 27% of its total workforce. Automobile Woche reported that the job cuts will be carried out through severance payments and early retirement programs. In other production news, Volkswagen announced that its upcoming ID.1 will be built in Portugal. The hatchback unveiled as the ID Everyone prototype last week, is scheduled to begin production in 2027, according to DPA International. Volkswagen brand boss Thomas Schaefer highlighted that the plant in Portugal is one of the most cost-efficient in the company. Tesla CEO Elon Musk has stated he wants to double US production within 2 years. Posting on his online platform X, Musk sees this move as support of the policies of President Donald Trump and confidence in the future of the United States. We hope you're enjoying this episode so far. As the Autovista 24 podcast is hosted on Spotify, you can let us know your thoughts on the app. We are also available on Apple Podcasts and Amazon Music. But no matter where you listen, be sure to subscribe. And check out Autovista 24's YouTube channel as well. There you'll find our What Is Explainer videos, launch report series, and webinar recordings. Finally, sign up for our daily email at the bottom of our homepage to ensure you never miss out on exclusive content from Autovista 24. Now, back to the headlines. Tesla's stock has dropped by nearly half in 3 months, Reuters reported. It has lost most of the gains it made following the US election last year. Most of Tesla's current value, which is far above some of the world's biggest automotive and technology companies, is based on robotaxis and robots it hasn't yet produced. Reuters found that Tesla's EV business makes up almost all of its revenue, but less than a quarter of its stock market value. The manufacturer's total worth is higher than the next 9 most valuable car makers combined. Nissan has completed what it claims to be the UK's most rigorous autonomous driving research project. Called Evolve AD, it follows 2 Nissan-backed projects in the country. Combined, the 3 tests lasted 8 years, during which more than 16,000 autonomous miles were driven across the country's motorways, urban centres, residential streets and countryside with 0 accidents. The conclusion of Evolve AD, which was partly funded by the government, marks the start of the next phase of autonomous driving deployment. This will assess the readiness of cities and regions across the UK for the future introduction of autonomous driving systems and services. Meanwhile, ZF has received a Germany-wide Level 4 test permit from the KBA to test autonomous driving. The permit covers urban and regional public transport areas. Roads with a maximum speed limit of more than 100 km an hour are excluded from the permit, which is valid until the end of 2026 and can then be extended until the end of 2028. In an attempt to potentially smooth the path for more self-driving vehicles, Bridgestone and Michelin are testing advances in puncture-free tyres. These versions are air-free and can support a 1-ton vehicle driving at 60 km an hour. The new invention is being trialled on shuttle buses and tourist vehicles. The tyres could mean lower maintenance costs and reduced liability risk from autonomous driving accidents caused by punctures. If you want to read more about the stories covered in this episode, then head over to the show notes, where you'll find a link to the companion article on Autovista 24. This episode was co-produced and fact-checked by Autovista 24 web editor James Roberts. Additional thanks go to editor Tom Gegus and special content editor Phil Curry. The music was Better Find a Solution Fast by Richard Ames. Before we go, be sure to sign up to the Autovista 24 daily email and subscribe to this podcast on your preferred audio platform. Thank you very much for listening to the Autovista 24 podcast.